Thank you for joining me, and let us begin with some introduction to the stereochemistry. Wherever I require some models, I'll be including them. But before this, because this is a first session, I'm just including the introductory part. So here it is. In stereochemistry, a stereoisomerism or spatial isomerism is a form of isomerism in which disappears. Molecules have the same molecular formula, but sequence of bonded atoms but differ in three-dimensional orientation of their atoms in space. This contrasts with the structural isomers, which share the same molecular formula, but the band connections are their order differs. By definitions, molecules that are stereoisomers of each other represent the same structural formula. What does it say? So basically, isomerism, is classified into two: constitutional. Constitutional isomerism. And the next part is the classification of constitutional isomerism into stereoisomerism. In the constitutional isomerism, you won't be bothered about bond connectivity. It may have some different, like for example, functional isomerism. Keto group may have two functions. One is an aldehyde, the other one is a keto group. Same carbonyl group, but it is giving two different functional groups. So you call it as functional isomerism. Different things are there. So that is why if you have same molecular formula, you have to look at this flow chart and suggest that some will be, if they are similar, then they will be called as the isomers. If they are not similar, these are the non-isomers. Okay. And within these isomers, if the connectivity is the same, you call it as the stereoisomers. And if it is different, it is a constitutional isomerism. Okay. So that is what I have written here. Now, within this stereochemistry, you will have two more things: geometrical isomerism and optical isomerism. Okay. So in the geometrical isomerism, most of the time it will be, you also call it as the cis-trans isomerism. And the optical isomerism, we will have DEL notation or RS configuration. Okay. The DL notation, we have already seen how we used D-glucose, L-glucose, dextrose, levulose. And this is the term which we often remember it as relative. Remember, we related this to ethylene glycol or glyceraldehyde. So this one was taken as a standard. And everything in which you had OH right will be taken as D. OH on the left will be taken as L. So that was it, relative configuration. But first, what is the configuration? Configuration means, see, if you buy a mobile phone, you often define it with the configuration. How much amount of RAM, okay, how much amount of memory, what is the camera pixel, what is the processor speed. and so many other factors, including whether it has got sensors. So all these things, and the radiation factor. Okay, the radiation of how much radiation it emits. So all these things, before buying a mobile, you can look into these things. These things are called as the configuration. Okay, configuration in chemistry, you have to orient. Orient means direct. Orient means direct. In this direction or in this direction. Whatever way you go, you call it as the orient. Orientation of groups in space. Okay, you are looking at this screen, and this screen is only plane. It's a kind of plane, we call it as 2D. But when you have a background where you can visualize the space, I am moving my hand front and back. This is third dimension. And in this third dimension, you can see whether a group is up or down or right or left or in this angle or a particular angle. What is a tangential angle? All these things, these are called as the orientation of groups in space. So you can see the constitutional isomerisms will have so many, such as chain isomerism, position isomerism, functional isomerism, linkage isomerism. Okay, that is a different aspect we are not dealing here now. But in the stereoisomerism, it will have same molecular formula, but the atoms occupy different positions in space. In the space, the orientation is how it is oriented. So if you have carbon, whether this hydrogen atom is at the back, this hydrogen atom is at the front, this hydrogen atom is at the top, or this hydrogen atom is in plane, like that orientation which you have, that you call it as the stereoisomerism. In this, you have geometrical isomerism, which I told you that it is practically called as the cis-trans isomerism. Some example is given. Two groups, let me take it as fluorine, are on the same side. So this will be called as the cis. One is in this direction, the other one is in this direction, opposite. So you call it as the trans. Okay. The optical isomerism, you will have to deal in a separate manner, in which you have to come across asymmetric carbon atom. Okay, an asymmetric carbon atom means it will be a carbon atom to which you will have four different groups. Why four? Because the valency of carbon is 4. All the 4 groups attached to it are different. Then you represent it by an asterisk. This is called as a symmetric carbon atom. And also you call this as a chiral center. Chiral. This is the word that you are going to learn today. You are not going to forget this. It is represented by this asterisk, chiral center. The chiral center is one in which all the atoms attached are different. They are not same. An example is if you have CH4, all the 4 atoms are same hydrogen. So it is called as the achiral. In the place of that, if you have CH, Cl, F, Br, you can see that all 4 groups are different. One H, Cl, another F, another Br. So that you will call it as the chiral. Okay. So that is the property with the asymmetric carbon atom, which you can call it as the plane polarized light, which is rotating the light in 2 different directions, right? What is a I'll come to that also, what is meant by a plane polar ridge. But first have a look at this cis and trans. I have already explained the same side, opposite side. You have these atoms on the opposite side. You have to look across double bond. Sometimes what people take is, they draw a line like this and say same bonds are in the same direction. Okay, but this is not across. You have to look at the C double bond C axis. C double bond C, why do we take C double bond C? The reason is C double bond C is not rotatable. It is rigid, it is fixed. If it is rotating, you cannot say whether this atom is in this place and that atom is in that place. You cannot say. Therefore, it has to be fixed. Fixed means carbon atom to the right means it will be on the right only. That we call it as the restricted rotation of carbon-carbon double bonds. See, for example, if you have CC bond here, you can have another pi bond in this form. Okay, these pi bonds are overlapping, and therefore they are not rotatable. If you don't have any pi bond, C single bond C, C single bond C, it is rotatable. Single covalent bonds can easily rotate. When I mark like this, you have to remember it by heart. Whether you get a question or not, you have to remember it. What appears to be a different structure is not, it looks like, but due to the way structures are written, they are the same. What does it say? It may appear the same, but the orientation, the way in which you are looking, you will have a standard axis, it may be different. See what has happened here? This is the case of C, this is H, and this is H, and this is also H, this is also H. Let me take this as Cl and Cl. So here you have Cl and here you have Cl. Here you have Cl and here also you have Cl. So it's rotating. So this rotation is bringing this Cl to this, and further rotation is bringing this Cl to this. Here the Cl and the here. So the rotation along this, changes the configuration, orientation in space. You can see that axis. All these structures are the same because CC bond have free rotation. Structure same அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். Structure is same. All these structures are same because CC bonds are free rotation. But if you have double bond, no free rotation. If you have double bond, the rotation will not be free. That is what we call it as the restricted rotation of C double bond C bonds. C double bond C are rotated so that the groups on either end of the bond are frozen in one position, and it is not easy to flip between the two. இது எப்படி போக முடியாது, இது எப்படி வர முடியாது, right? This produces two possibilities. Two structures cannot interchange easily. Therefore, one possibility is same side, you call it as the cis. Opposite side, you call it as the trans. So this is one form of the isomerism. So that is it here. There are a lot of compounds, and at every place you have to look into the double bond. If there is no double bond, you cannot have geometrical isomerism. If there is no double bond, geometrical isomerism is not possible. Okay, This is just a glance into constitutional isomerism. This you don't have in syllabus, but let me tell you how these things are written. See, it is the presentation of the double bonds is there. We can have different structure with the same molecular formula. Okay, so whether you have double bond across second position, third position, it doesn't matter. So that is called the constitutional isomerism. In the stereoisomerism, we will have same molecular formula, same connectivity. Remember, in constitutional isomerism, connectivity changes. Same constitutional isomer, constitutional cell, different spatial orientation. Orientation means how it is oriented, like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. 4 different directions. Okay. Now you can see how the double bond is, are these stereoisomers of cis 2 butene? You have to answer. The connectivity is changing. This is not an isomer, stereoisomer, because if you number it here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to number it here also 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see double bond is in 3 and 4. Here you can see double bond is between 2 and 3. Okay, so it has changed. The orientation of bond change, therefore it doesn't conform to, this is not an stereoisomerism, but this is a constitutional isomer. Okay. Before going to this, I'm going to tell you what the enantiomers, how the optical isomers are. So let me go to the last part here. Okay. See, you have light. Okay. So what do we call it as light? We have this Fleming's left-hand rule. In which you have 4 finger, okay, 4 finger, and you have like this thumb, and then you have middle finger. This actually represents 3 axes. This is X, and this is Z, and this is Y axis. Okay. It so happens that when light is propagated like this, light goes in this direction. The magnetic field, it has got magnetic field. Oscillation. The magnetic field oscillates perpendicular. 90 degree. Okay. The direction of the light in which goes, above that you will have a magnetic field, and below that you will have in another direction. This is the electric field. And this is also 90 degree. That means if light goes in a particular direction, magnetic field oscillates in one direction, electric field oscillates in another direction. Okay. Now this is because this is a magnetic field. You can use magnets to influence. So what they actually do is this electric field and magnetic field, they are forced into one plane. இப்படி போயிட்டு இருக்கோம், ரெண்டுமே சேர்த்து ஒரே plane. Okay, so when you place it in one plane, then you call it as the plane polarized light. PPL. PPL is plane polarized light. Arc light is non-polarized light. Polarized means we should have some direction, deviation from neutrality. Okay, so plane polarized light, when you pass this plane polarized light through the isomers, which you call as the enantiomers, okay, it rotates the plane polarized light, rotates PPL to right or left. When it is rotating to the right, we call it as the dextro. When it is rotating to the left, we call it as the levo. Dextro or levo. Dextro rotatory, levo rotatory. So this is happening only in the case of asymmetric carbon atom. C mele or is asterisk putting asymmetric carbon atom. You should not forget this in this session. Very important. So enantiomers and diastereoisomers are two isomers which are mirror images. Enantiomers are different objects, not superimposable. I'll tell you what superimposable in my next class when I deal with the optical activity. But here you have to know these two things. Stereoisomers are mirror objects of each other, whereas diastereomers are not mirror images. Okay, so if you see this hand and this hand, this becomes a mirror image. In the side thumb, in the side of thumb, these two are mirror images. Okay, now these two are superimposable. You cannot see in a particular axis, you cannot see whether it is. So you have enantiomers which are not mirror images, therefore they are not superimposable. And diastereomers which are mirror images but are superimposable. Okay, so these are all the properties which we are going to see in our classes, forthcoming classes. Let me go to the summary here. Isomers contain same atoms, same formula. Okay, so you can have C3H6O, different chemicals. You can have that. So within this isomers, now it contains same atoms, same formula. Constituents isomers, they'll have different bonding. So this different chemical is possible because of the different bonding. Stereoisomers, same connectivity, different 3D orientation. Orientation is orientation of groups, direction of groups in different things. So within this you have enantiomers and diastereomers, which we call as the mirror objects. Okay. So one more example that I'm going to show you is that of the where is it? This point. Okay, this okay, just show you here. Some examples I'm just telling. So you can see the constitutional isomers there. This is one molecule in which you have F in a particular direction. This is another molecule in which you have F in directions. So here carbon atom 2 is having F. Here carbon atom 1, 2, 3 is having F. 3F and 3F. So that is called as the constitutional isomers. Okay. That is called as the constitutional. But in the stereoisomers, you will have different orientation. What is the orientation there? Can you see the orientation? This is a chlorine group at the front right, but this is a chlorine group front left. Okay, you can see F in this direction and F in this direction. This is left and this is right, so that is called as the orientation, and that forms the stereoisomer. And this one, which is given by dotted line, is written to suggest mirror. Okay, mirror images means கண்ணாடி வச்சா எப்படி உங்களுக்கு இந்த different isomer வரும்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. Okay, so within this you will have enantiomers and diastereoisomers because of the mirror image factor, and within these diastereoisms you will have cis trans isomerism. You have to look across the double bond. Double bond is compulsory. Double bond is compulsory. So you see CS3 same side, and you see CH3 opposite side. Okay, and within these diastereomers you have conformers. This is a different from conform. F O R M. அந்த கன்ஃபார்ம் இல்ல, இந்த கன்ஃபார்ம் வேற. This confirm conformity test. This confirm isomer. Okay, what is the isomer? You have this C bond here, another C here. This is one C. This is another C. In the C attached irukkiradhu 1, 2 and 3. In the C attached irukkiradhu 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and you can see that CH3 is attached to 2 carbon atoms. Here CH3 is attached to 2 carbon atoms, but the main difference is the angle. Here this angle is about 120 degree, but look at this angle in the CH3 with the CH3 angle is about 180 degree. So you call it as the I think you have seen this as the staggered conformation. Okay, so this clearly shows you the concept of this is the last slide that you have seen. Clearly shows you the concept of the isomerism, constitutional isomerism, different names, different functions, different linkages. Stereoisomerism, two things: geometrical and optical isomerism. Optical isomerism, it rotates the plane porosity towards the left or right, and also depends on the asymmetric carbon atoms that is attached. But geometrical isomerism, you should have a double bond, restricted rotation, groups placed in different directions, and therefore you call it as the geometrical isomerism. Okay, I think we have given you clear idea of what types of isomerism exist in stereoisomerism. Stereo is quite opposite of mono. If you have mono, it is single. Stereo means you are including. It is that for that reason we have got 2 eyes. Why do we have 2 eyes? If you close one eye, it's very difficult to judge the distance, depth. If you have 2 eyes, these 2 eyes can judge the depth, that is the tight dimension. One is length, another one is breadth. So length and breadth is the 2 dimension only. Length, breadth, height or depth is the tight dimension. The tight dimension gives you an idea of the depth or the different, and that is the distance from from the main point of your view. So that is why you have got two eyes. These two eyes gives you a picture, a shade, depthness of a particular atom. So this subject is meant to take you to the understanding aspect of the molecules. So far, you have been seeing all the molecules only in two dimension only, but here you have to see the molecules. Imagine the molecules in a third dimension, that is X, Y, Z. These three dimensions are very essential. In higher physics and higher science, we have four dimensions in which to use